Supreme Court is deciding the fate of hundreds of thousands of people brought to the U.S. illegally when they were children.
In a tweet, the president called some DACA recipients hardened criminals.
And Apple, as a company, filing a brief in support of the program with the U.S. Supreme Court, which will consider the legality of DACA policy this term.
DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a program that has been in place since 2012. And the policy allows young undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children to be eligible for work authorization and to be protected from deportation.
These so-called Dreamers got their names from the 2001 DREAM Act, which would have given young, undocumented immigrants permanent residency and a path to legal status, unlike DACA. It was proposed but never passed in Congress, so President Obama created DACA through executive action.
Let's be clear, this is not amnesty, this is not immunity, this is not a path to citizenship, it's not a permanent fix. This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people. It is the right thing to do.
The requirements to apply for DACA status are as follows. You must have been under 31 years old as of June 15, 2012, come to the U.S. before you turn 16, continuously resided in the U.S. since June 15, 2007, entered the U.S. before June 15, 2012, have a relatively clean criminal record, and last, be currently in school, have graduated from high school, have obtained a GED, or been in the military.
There are approximately 825,000 Dreamers who currently have DACA status. While they only make up a small fraction of the U.S. population, the impact of these people on their communities is profound.
I'm an undergraduate student,
a visual artist,
sophomore at Lafayette College,
teacher here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, so there's actually some really good research that shows that DACA recipients, over the next 10 years, if DACA remains in place, would actually contribute up to $433 billion to the U.S. gross domestic product. And then they would also have about $60 billion in fiscal impact and contribute $12.3 billion in Social Security and Medicare taxes.
People who are not working legally can be exploited by employers. They can be paid lower wages, they can be working in conditions that are not favorable conditions, that are difficult conditions, dangerous conditions, doing jobs that are less desired. And what happens then is that brings down the pay, and that brings down working conditions for everybody who's working in that particular sector. So there's an argument that actually having people work legally is a benefit to American workers.
Not only do Dreamers contribute to society and the economy, they also have families here that they cannot afford to leave behind.
Today, I'm one of almost 200 undocumented medical students and residents who, without DACA, we can't complete residency training. And without DACA, the health and well-being of all the families that we care for will also suffer.
We as a family have paid so much money to make sure everything's documented and right, okay? Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people like to focus on is what bad has happened.
This is our home, we don't know any other place other than this country as our home, and so to take this away would be a bad look in the history of this country.
However, with the election of a new president,
I'm here today to announce that the program known as DACA that was effectuated under the Obama administration is being rescinded.
The Trump administration has questioned the authority of President Obama to put the program in place and the constitutionality of DACA itself. They are not without reason in doing this. In 2015, President Obama also tried to pass DAPA, DAPA, which is a very similar program to DACA. However, multiple states filed a lawsuit against the federal government, and the program was declared unconstitutional. So, naturally, DACA has received similar suspicion.
So the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival program was put in by President Obama. He said he was going to do this by an executive action. He was going to use his phone and his pen. The Trump administration, and he premised it on an exercise of prosecutorial discretion. The Trump administration came in and said that which one president can do with their phone and their pen, another president can undo with their phone and their pen.
In a country where rule of law is the supreme idea, is it right to let some people who break the law live here freely, but not others?
DACA is always exclusively for exclusive people when it shouldn't be that way. You know, everyone's a human being.
That question is up to the Supreme Court to decide, as it has agreed to review the case and will make a decision by spring of 2020. Meanwhile, dreamers and citizens alike are fighting to keep the policy in place and shelter dreamers from the fear that comes with being undocumented.
I mean, think about it. We're squandering the talents of a couple million young people who we've educated, who we've provided health care for, who we have provided all the services that are needed for developing a child aged 18.